Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. Today's webinar is all about how to prepare and emerge successful in your exams. This is one thing, exams, the word should not give us fever. Exam should give us a smile, broad smile on our face. Now, being the board exams near to us, this is the time when the iron is hot. And me, Smriti Jha. Today, I just want to tell all you students and the parents of the inquisitive students to strike the iron when it is hot. Exams are nearing. This is the time when you should be well prepared to take it and come out with flying colors. Today, we shall just focus on the preparation and emerging out with flying colors successful in the examinations that we are taking. Just keep a pen and paper handy to take any kind of notes that you feel is important for you, and it can drive you to keep motivated during the examinations, before the examinations, as well as after the examinations. And any kind of questions we can have at end of the session. So the horses should keep running and keep it saved for end of the session so that we can answer your inquisitiveness. Before we start and go ahead, let me ask a question. Very generic question that comes in mind. Do you feel stressed out before exams? I shall just start with a poll. Do you feel stressed out before exams? Yes or no? 100% yes. That was quite expected. We are Homo sapiens, human beings. We have emotions that sets us apart from rest of the organisms, right? So these emotions are actually expressed in ourselves, and this is what causes stress. As we proceed towards the webinar, we'll come to know that not all the stress is bad and not all the stress that we take is good as well. Okay? So 100% means yes, we all have feelings, we all have emotions. We are stressed before exams, which is very natural. Don't bother about it. As I said, we will talk in this presentation about the preparation and the final result, how to emerge successful. This is the motto of each and everyone who has attended this session, right? Be it the inquisitive students who have workload on their brains and the parents who keep on seeing their tiny toddlers day in and day out, how they are coping up with the stress. The main motto of any examination is not to let anyone down. Today, when I'm sitting here and presenting this webinar, doesn't mean that we haven't been through all this. I just want to share my experiences and the way how I coped up my stress. We sail on the same boat. Everyone has gone through this phase, even the parents of the students. So they know that this too shall pass. There is no need to take much stress about it, and it should not only pass, it should pass very calmly, gently, and with good flying colors. We should come out of the situation, correct? The agenda of today's session would be, first of all, the introductory part as how we are going to prepare ourselves and be motivated. Second, just before the exam, how do we go ahead and prepare for the examination? Third, obviously the D-Day is very important to all of us. D-Day means when the exam commences. And last but not the least, after the exam, what do we need to do? Before we go ahead, I have a beautiful large number in front of me. You can see This is 86,400. There is a comment box which you can see in the window. So I would request all the audiences, the beautiful audiences who have spared the time on this Sunday morning, please write what thing comes first in your brain when you see this number 86,400, which is being displayed on the screen. I can see people in typing. I'll give you 10 seconds of time. Please type in, what do you feel like when you see the number 86,400 on screen? Is it money? I wish it was. It would have made our Sunday, correct? Well, now that we are talking about examinations, the goal is obviously to be successful, to have money for our sustenance. But I'm sorry, this is not about money this time. It is something very related to money, synonymous to it. Any more answers that I can expect apart from money? Well, that was a good guess, actually. For many, ultimate goal is obviously to have money which is sustainable. I'll just give you a couple of seconds. I can see a few people typing in. All right. Well, if I think it is related to time. Very correct. This is what I wanted to hear. Some of you were aware that 86,400 actually is the number of seconds that we have in a day, in a single day. We know a day constitutes of 24 hours and 1 hour is equals to 60 minutes. Each minute constitutes of 60 seconds. So if we keep on multiplying this 24 into 60 into 60, the total number of seconds that we get is 86,400. That is the number of seconds that we get every single day. And the most important thing is that all the individuals, all Homo sapiens, get equal number of seconds. That is 86,400. That is readily available to each one of us. The only thing that differentiates us, the toppers, the strivers, the laborers, everyone, that how do we utilize this time? How do we go ahead and keep the brackets of our time available to us? And how do we utilize it for constructive purposes or just as leisure time? For students, it is applicable to everyone that some students continue say, the time has been the constraint. If I would have got 1 month of more time, I would have prepared better. But gentlemen and gentle ladies, the same amount of time is given to each and every one. Some of you still have to continue to plan and create the study plan, which will make a difference in your life. As we see the quotation, Jackson Brown Jr. has said, don't say you don't have enough time. You have exactly the same amount of hours per day that were given to Michelangelo, Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci, and Albert Einstein. I know you keep on hearing these statements from your parents as well. But the thing is that they, as I said, they have also sailed the same boat. They have been through all this. So they keep on sharing their experiences. That the time was same. It was just about the judicial management of the time which was provided to us. And obviously, there's no use crying over the spilt milk. Once the exam is over, we are discussing all these things before the exam because you still have time in hand. You can utilize this time judiciously. Successful exam writing depends on a series of steps taken weeks before the test is written. Obviously, well begun is half done, and preparation always counts in whatsoever you do. Before we go ahead, I'll just ask to put a poll question. Do you think stress is always bad for you? Just awaiting the results, yes or no. Do you think that stress, whatever comes to you, is always bad? I can see people answering in. I'll just wait for a few seconds more. All right. So we see that 83% of the people who are joining the webinar, they are saying that yes, stress is always bad for you. But there are 16% of people who still feel that stress is not always bad. Sometimes it might do some good to us, correct? We'll discuss on this in detail few minutes later. Some students start 6 months before the exam schedule the preparation. Some start before few days. This depends on the intelligence quotient. Obviously, the intelligence quotient of each individual is different. But what I try to explain is that we have to make a perfect balance. In the sense, if your intelligence quotient is still here, it's way too high, and you are putting in this much of labor, that is not sufficient. Similarly, if your intelligence quotient is too less as compared to others, psychologically, if we see, but you are putting in this much of labor that is required to reach the top, this would balance. So the amount of labor that you put in and the intelligence quotient that you have, both should be in sync. That creates the perfect balance. It strikes the chord. So just being intelligent and not putting in labor would not help you as student. Similarly, having very less IQ but putting in labor which is required would help you in bringing out the best in you. There should be a perfect beam balance between the amount of labor put in and the intelligence quotient which is God gifted. You cannot work much on enhancing your intelligence quotient. All you can do is keep practicing, keep putting in your labor, and then striking the chord. I'm sure there are a few students who feel that there's a lot of inconvenience because of the online classes that has happened because of this unfortunate pandemic. But again, as I say, it was all destined. Maybe you are the chosen ones who got this opportunity to be in your pajamas, be inside the cozy four walls of your room, and prepare for your exams. So just keep thinking about the positive aspects that has happened because of the pandemic. You did not go to school. The travel time was very less this year. So maybe you are blessed. Think it that way and take it in a positive sense. Before the exams are announced, the dates are announced, many of us actually get stressed. But this is not going to help us. Being human beings, stress is natural. But how do we handle that stress? That is in our hands. We are blessed with a family and friends around who keep track of how stressed we are and help us to cope us. Coming to the word that we discussed just few minutes back, that is stress. Stress. It sounds very simple, but it involves complexity of our mind. complexity of all the emotions that is going on inside students' brain just before the exam. I still wonder that when we are students, the main thing that is there in our brain is just how do we face the examination, how the results would be generated. And as we pass that phase, we often laugh on that thing. Right now, when I'm sitting, that 10 years, 15 years after my board examinations, that makes me laugh. That how stressed I was at that time. And obviously, it is pointless. What has happened had to happen. So, those things, when you come out with flying colors after your board examinations, obviously, that is not the be all and end all of your life. You have many other options available, especially in this competitive era where you have plethora of options available. If you're not good in maths, no need of taking stress on mathematics. Just devote that much of time that is actually required to come out with flying colors. Obviously, you need to pass the examinations with flying colors. There are expectations of your parents, and which is but natural. You have to make a perfect balance between their expectations and the amount of potential you can deliver. Then only you would come out as a better individual. These examinations are nothing but to make you a better individual where you can assess yourself, where you are ready to handle stress, which are actually the main challenges of life, the real challenges that are going to wait for you and they are going to come ahead in your life. These examinations are just one step of that ladder where you have to prepare yourself and assess yourself. I guess the board examinations are now very few days left. So now this is the perfect time when we have to consider the exam stress that comes to our brain. The first kind of stress that we are going to discuss about is EU stress. As we discussed, are you prepared well? If not, then you have to manage and you have to ensure that you stress. What is you stress, first of all? You stress is the positive aspect of stress that happens to every individual that helps you to keep motivated, and it is good for your body and mind. It helps you in bringing out the best in you. As everyone knows that we have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde among us. How many of you have gone through this novel, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? This is one of my favorite novels. If you have been through this novel, just type Y in the comment box. If no, type N in the comment box, and I'll give you a brief of this novel. Please type comment in the comment box. Y if you have been through it. I see very few people have been through this novel. No worries. Um, Let me explain you. Every individual has Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in us. Dr. Jekyll is the good omen. It helps us to motivate to do always good things in life. But in the same body, we have Mr. Hyde, who needs luxury, who needs rest. They don't want us to strive more. They say whatever we have is fair enough. Let it be. Let the things keep happening at their own pace. We don't have to strive much. So what we have to do is that keep that Mr. Hyde in control and try to improve on Mr. Jekyll's saying. Whatever he says inside our body is correct. And we have to meditate and keep promoting Dr. Jekyll within us. So this eustress can be a synonym to Dr. Jekyll inside us. This helps us in motivating and doing better in exams. But here comes Mr. Hyde. DI, de-stress. This is a negative stress, which causes fatigue, anxiety, tension among our body, and it's not good for our mental growth as well. So we just have to keep a perfect balance how to lower the de stress and how to keep working on eustress, which is good for us. As I said, eustress helps us to stay motivated, work towards goal, and feel good about life. This is actually said by clinical psychiatrist Dr. Michael. And obviously, when things are proven clinically, it means it holds value. And we should always try to believe that people who are expert in their domain, they always say something that is good for ourselves. We should try to follow their footsteps. Being students, we have lots and lots of things to learn. Because in the words of Swami Vivekananda, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. We all have that manifestation among ourselves. Examination is not at all about marks. 60% I have seen people excelling as CEO. 90% I have seen people prioritizing their work life balance and staying back at home, helping to rear the children. So 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. This might make you happy for the time being, but this is not the be all and end all of life. All you can do is that keep keep thinking that this is your aim. You should achieve this. But if you don't achieve, just don't be so demotivated that this is the end of life. This is just the beginning, believe me. Wherever you go, 10 years back down the lane, when you see, you will only smile and laugh on whatever you have done in your life. De stress can lead to anxiety, depression, and a decrease in performance, which is a complete no for each one of us who's attending the webinar. All these things will just help us to degrade our morale. All we should do is that we should keep on boosting our morale, that if this doesn't happen, we have a plan B ready with us. We can do better than this. But obviously, this would not refrain us from preparing well, because obviously that is the only thing that we have to do right now. Right now, our target is just to prepare for the examination. Even in Gita, they say that we keep on doing our karma. We should not be worried about the end result. Not worried, that is obviously not in our hands. As the Paul suggested, everyone is stressed before the examination. And that is good as well in one sense. Because there are hormones among us, the pheromones. It is all about the enzymes that differentiates us from other animals. They might not feel that tension, that stress, but we do feel. It's just that how do we control it is important. Now let's discuss, as students or as people who are going to appear for any sort of competitive examinations, what do we need to do before the exam? Develop a study plan. Obviously, as I said, well begun is half done. Without planning, nothing can be achieved. An architect, when starts developing the model of a home, the first thing that they emphasize on is the plan. If a plan is good, the execution would be good as well. So just know what is the syllabus. What is the pattern of questions that are being asked? In this era of online materials which are available, you have umpteen number of options available. During our times, it was little difficult to visit the libraries to get the materials which are required, to have the sample papers readily available. But by God's grace and with human beings' technological revolution, you have everything handy with you. So be blessed and develop a study plan accordingly. How and what kind of questions are being put in? Doing labor is fine, But being a smart player always helps. You will see that if you get this habit from the very beginning of your life, from student life itself, this would help you when you join corporate, teaching, or any area that you go in. Being a smart player always helps. You're not supposed to put in 15 hours out of 24 hours in study and burn the midnight oil. All you have to do is that prepare things, plan well, what kind of long type answers are expected, short type answers are expected, see the pattern of the questions that are asked in the past 10 years. This is what you would be hearing from your teachers and mentors as well. Because every exam has a particular pattern. They follow that pattern and always try, the education boards, they always try that they do not deviate from that pattern come what may. So know that pattern and practice the active review. Whatever is important, you need to practice that. Keep practicing. Practice makes a man or woman perfect. So emphasize on practicing things. If you are aware of things that have already been sorted out by you, you'll not be surprised in the examination hall. You need to develop a study plan. What do you know about the exam? As I said, if you keep on reviewing the 10 years question papers, you'll get an idea yourself. If you are bad at predicting things or analyzing things, there is no worry. You have many people around you, right? We are social organisms. You have your parents, you have your siblings, your guardians, your friends all around who would help you in understanding what is important and what is not. So take help. Seeking help is never bad. And that too, for excelling in life, you need to take help from people who are much more experienced and matured. These things will actually make you a better individual as well. Do not boast off. Just emphasize and focus on what is important. Knowledge can come from any corner. You just have to be accept them with open mind. What course materials might be useful? Obviously, as I said, this is a technological revolution that has happened. But at the same place, we have plethora and many numbers of material which is available in the market. You need to be judgmental. And you have to vouch upon your teachers and mentors who can guide you that which one is better and which one you need to follow. Obviously, you cannot go through everything and anything that is available in the market. Textbook is your Gita. Believe me, any board examination or any kind of curriculum do not deviate from their main textbook. Everything comes from there. Obviously, for reference, you can refer many books, many other materials, but your Gita would be your main textbook, which you should focus on. First, complete that, and if you do not understand something from there, you can obviously refer to the reference materials. How much time I realistically devote to prepare the exam? This is a big question because, as we discussed earlier, the intelligence quotient depends from person to person. Every personality and every individual has a unique DNA. We cannot compare people. Maybe I would require only 2 hours of study for English because I'm good at it. I have better hold on it. But my creativity is good. Logically, I might not be that sound. So mathematics might require little more focus. Accordingly, whatever is your ability and capability, accordingly you decide on the number of hours. Keep dividing the 86,400 seconds in a day in smaller slots, 30 minutes of time, and have free time for you as well. Keep it very realistic because being human being a student now, your mind have many distractions as well. You might want to watch TV. You might want to have gossip with your friends for some time. Relax a bit with your family members. So keep those buffer time. It should be very realistic. That would help. Some tips: write or recite all important details from memory. This is something that I have been through as well when I was a student. My parents used to say, whenever you write things, you remember it well. Obviously, being students, we are little lazy and we think that we have crammed the things that's there in our memory. What we'll do is that we'll spill it out during examination. But believe me, this doesn't work. If you write things, it gets embarked there. And if you write things, you also get a flair of what you are going to do on the day of examination. The same thing is repeated. It would be a recapitulation what you have written before. And that would be better for your performance rather than just reading and mugging up things. Keep making notes. Writing always helps. So, whatever our forefathers, what our ancestors say, they say it with experience. You might not like it at the moment being a teenager, but believe me, this is helpful for you in longer run. Predict and answer the test questions. Be an astrologer. As I always say, if you predict things, there is a something mysterious thing called sixth sense. If you feel that it has come time and again, you feel it is important, devote more time on it. Not all chapters require equal amount of attention. Doesn't mean that you are actually ignoring things. You need to read everything that is there in the textbook, but prioritization, as I say, is always important and it always works. We cannot mug up the entire syllabus. We cannot prioritize everything. So just feel whatever is important, whatever is in trend, prioritize it more and keep other things at little less priority level so that you are not stressed out and worn out at the same time. Do a variety of problems. Obviously, if you face versatile problems, you would avoid surprises at the time of exam. Write your own short practice essays, which would help you being an author yourself and understanding the syllabus better. Make up mnemonics for difficult information. What are mnemonics? Can I have answers on the comment box if someone is aware of mnemonics? I can see few students typing in mnemonics. Mnemonics are actually nothing but something which helps us in remembering things in a better way. The formula, the poem, whatever you feel like. Shortcuts. Yes. Yeah, you can say in one way that these are the shortcuts. Like BODMAS is an axiom for all the students. Bracket, of, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. How do I remember even 15 years after I have used this? Because this was mnemonics. And these shortcuts, what you say, is well rehearsed there. It is there in my memory still. Easy tricks, Sanya. Correct, Sanya. Easy tricks as well. Like, how do we count in our fingers? January, February, March, April. How many days in a month? 30, 31, 31. Which one comes here is 31. Which one comes here? 30. So these things are like from childhood. We are so versed. These are so easy to remember that we will actually remember it till the last breath of our life. So what I say is that why not keep on emphasizing on these mnemonics, the memory techniques. Yes, it is memory techniques, which actually helps us to perform better. Like keep on making your own poems, whatever you feel like you can remember in a better way, that would help you in your performance. Practice active review. Visual concepts. Nowadays we see, my daughter is in primary school and I see that now they focus on visuals. They have stories of the planet system. So when I correlate what I used to read horizontally in the textbooks. I used to underline and make important notes. Those things have been recreated and recreated in such a perfect way that we can see the visuals and understand things in a better way. Those stories are imbibed in our brain, what we see. Our parents keep on saying, "You remember the dialogues of movies so well. I wonder why don't you remember the formulas?" So here is the thing. The trick is whatever we see, the sensory organ of visuals actually works better for us. So make notes, keep it in tabular form, chart form, pie chart, bar graphs, whatever we use later in life, as I say, when we become some officials, we use the same things to describe data. So why not use it when you are a student? This would be helpful to you in longer run as well. Work practice problems, obviously, practice is important. We cannot deny the fact. Identify the types of problem. Create flashcards. Keep the flashcards handy, like I do it for my tiny toddler. The weekdays I have written in flashcards: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is what, when you see it every day, you tend to remember it, even if you want to avoid it. I still remember one of my friends' place where we used to visit, and the periodic table was pasted on the cupboard. Whenever I remember about hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, like this, it was well versed. Why? Because every day we used to visit her home and see the same thing pasted in the cupboard. So even if we don't want, we don't have any option. Make flashcards, keep it seeing daily. Where would it go from your brain? It has to come inside, right? Try to explain a tough concept to someone else. Be a teacher. Not everyone has the capability, but obviously many have it hidden among themselves. Be the teacher, and if you explain things to others, that would automatically come to you. Write your own practice test. That is most important. On the day of exam, what you have to do is the D day, you have to do the physical preparation. Do not eat more, do not eat less. Have proper 8 hours of sleep, which is very much essential. Mental preparation, you have been prepared from long time ago. So you just have to be in the same pace. Over anxiety or excess of anything is bad. Be calm, be peaceful, whatever you do it at your own pace. Starting the test, scan and plan whichsoever is the most important question and which you have prepared well. Obviously, go for it first. First impression is the last impression. Dump memorized info onto the test paper. Whatever you feel that you have just memorized it, just dump it on the test paper first so that you don't miss it later, which you don't want to miss, obviously. After the exam, there's one poll question. Is there something that you should be doing after the exams? Just type in yes or no. If you feel that's something you should do after the exam as well, or you feel that no. No, 100%. Okay, as expected. After exams, you don't want to listen about the word exam, right? This is very natural. What I say is that little bit of analysis would help you to be a better individual, and for later the exams which are waiting for you in the lobby. Obviously that is not the last exam that you have been through in life. So keep analyzing yourself. What is your strength, what is your weakness. After 10th, we used to decide we are going to take biology or maths, depending on what. It was depending on our strength and our inclination. And many a times with the suggestions from our family and friends. We being the social organism, we have to take care of all these things. What would you like to do differently next time? Yes, we always learn from our mistakes. Correct? This has happened with all of us. So whatever went wrong, which would have gone, something we always do wrong. And by mistakes, we learn. So use those mistakes. Before we proceed for the question and answer session today, it was really fun talking to you and sharing my own experiences and few knowledgeable items with you which might help you in longer run, not only for this examination, but in the examination of life. I just wish you all come out with flying colors. Before we proceed, I would request you all to type in the comment box so that I get to know little things that what have you learned today? The main thing which you feel that from this webinar you have learned today, which can be helpful to you in longer run, so that I keep emphasizing on that. I'm waiting for your answers in the comment box. What have you learned today? What is your takeaway? Good or bad, whatever you feel that you have learned, this 40 minutes should not go futile and in vain. Whatever you have learned, it's a welcome question. Thank you for the session. I'll start focusing better. That helps me a lot. If you focus, I, as an individual who have motivated you, would feel better. Focus is very important in life. Deviations, as I say these days, are a lot many, but you have to hold your horses. It's just a matter of 2, 3 months. Do well in exam. That remains with you forever, that stays with you forever. As I say, 90% is not always important, but assessing yourself is important. All right, then, over to EGNANI team for question and answer sessions, please.
All right, Smriti, thank you so much for this session.
You're
And I'm
welcome.
sure our participants might have enjoyed and learned something. As we got a comment from Tony saying that, yes, he found this session useful and then he will start focusing better.
Yeah,
We got another comment from Naresh that he got to learn for the first time that there is a good kind of stress also.
correct.
We have another comment for you, Anuradha. She says, you explained wonderfully about stress. Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Anuradha.
good that we have been able to give value to the time they have spent with us.
Yes.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to go
Yeah.
ahead and shoot your questions here in the comment box, and we'll try to take as many questions as possible. Please go ahead and type in your questions in the comment box, and we'll try to answer your questions.
No questions means either you understood everything or you did not understand anything. So I'm open to both. Great memory tricks. Thanks, Anya. I just hope that you utilize it in the examination. And even if 1% it is helpful to you during examination, that's our motto is solved. Okay. Naresh says, my problem is that I can't manage time properly. You know, Naresh, you have to remove that I word because it's the story of everyone out here. We cannot manage time properly. If we would have managed, as I said, everyone would have become Mother Teresa, Leonardo da Vinci. But all we can do is that we have to idealize people, what they would have done. Like I have heard from my father many a times that Jawaharlal Nehru was writing letter with both the hands. I still wonder how because I have tried practicing many a times. But as I say, every individual is different. What you have to do is that you wake up at 6 or 7, whatever time that suits your biological clock. Just keep dividing it in slots of short span of time, 30 minutes. And if there is deviation from that routine, try amending that routine, how you can make it more realistic. That is all which works. Many are morning risers who actually their brain and energy level is active in the morning. Many are nocturnal since childhood, like my daughter, because we were in night shift, so she has been nocturnal since childhood. Her energy level is most at the time of night. So I can't force her to get up at 7 and start mugging up things, right? So, individually, it depends from person to person. At what time their energy level is best, try focusing on that particular time. Hope this is little helpful for you. Tony says, social media is hard to avoid. What to do? As I said, with the help of these technological advancements, we had pros and cons both. Pros is that we have many options available readily, materials, but difficult thing is that WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, all these are really hard to avoid. I just beg and pray what I do to my kids as well, that try to keep yourself away from these for 2 months at least. Now that exams are knocking our door, this would be the most important time of your life. If you stay just away for 2 months, you see how better you do in the examination. Staying away from one habit, if you do it for 1 hour or 2 hours, also keep practicing it, this would be better. This is not just for you, this is for me as well, for all the people who are lending ears to me. That if we try to stop using social media during our lunch, dinner, not using mobile phones, this would be actually helpful for us. We don't have to go to any detox centers to avoid it. It's all here in our brain. And meditation, prayers, whatever you feel is suitable to you, do those things and avoid these social media. If it is really hard, please ask your parents to get the connection cut. For 2 months, you have to be little strict to yourself, but this is going to pay in future, believe me. Consistency plays a very important role, Sania says, while preparing for any exam. I agree. How can we be consistent? As I said, Sania, consistency will only come from realistic approach. If I make a routine of 14, 15 hours studying in a day and burning the midnight oil, it's not going to help. Being realistic, just putting in 4 to 5 hours a day, whatever we spend in school, 5 to 7 hours that has been designated for our brain, it cannot work more than that. So don't ruin your brain. Use it till the time it is ready to be used. Do not overstress yourself. Be realistic. I get tired after studying for some time. How should I deal with it? Sanya, the best thing would be to relax, take little breaks, do whatever you like doing for some time, and see you will feel better. If you want to do yoga, meditation, and if not all these things, if you like watching TV, go for watching TV for some time. Suddenly, the pheromones inside your brain will say, now stop watching TV because exams are knocking your door, and then you will yourself realize. Introspection or self realization is the best. Your parents can only keep on saying, but the action doer is you. Only you can help yourself. Do whatever suits you, whatever you feel better at. But remember me, at the back of your brain, this thing would be tickling that exams are nearby. So don't overimpose things on yourself. You will automatically remember what is good and what is bad. Hope it answers, Sanya. Try taking rest, relax, rejuvenate, and then come up with a bang. I think that was all the questions that we had. Okay, Anuradha is typing, nowadays people get more stressed if they don't use social media. How do they get rid of that thing? Obviously, practice makes a man perfect. If you keep staying away from the social media slowly, this would help in making your idea better. If you cut the connections, as I said, would be a harsh step, and that would be the last step that I would require your parents to do. But if required, use it. Use it for next 2 months because that is important. Can we combine studies with friends? Tony says, yes, you can. But again, it depends on what kind of student you are. Many people like group study, but many are silent listeners and they are silent students. They don't want to mess with others. Maybe they have prepared something, and in group study, they would come to know that they haven't prepared this much, which would stress them. So, depending on the kind of student you are, if you're not getting stressed with group study, obviously it is better to analyze what is the preparation of others, what is your preparation, and discussing things. As I said, be a teacher if you can. This would help you in clearing your concepts, and this might help someone who likes listening to someone and then grasp things better. So you can combine, you cannot, depending on the way you study. I can't memorize answers properly, Naresh says. Mnemonics. That is the answer to your question, as I said. Bodmas, we still remember. The rules of 30 days, we still remember because it is in our hands. Correct? So make your own mnemonics. If you're good in writing poems, make a poem and then learn things. If you are good at visuals, make pie charts of things, percentages, whatever you want to study. Make flashcards of the formulas, paste it all around your wall. For a few days, your room might not look that clean and tidy, but your brain would be very clean and tidy with that. Because if you keep seeing things daily, that helps a lot. Can't memorize, obviously. Naresh, almonds cannot just be the solution for this. Almonds we eat for sharp memory, walnuts should be eaten, but these are just theoretical things. Practically, if you keep practicing and keep memorizing, then only you would be able to. You are also a human being, you have the same brain, it's just that you need to practice more, you need to rehearse more. Thank you. Thank you, Naresh. Tips were only those things which we have utilized in our life. And this is not something new that we are saying. All have been through the same thing, same phase. And we just wish that you do better in your examination with these tips. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Ignanity.
Yeah, thank you everyone for taking your time out on a Sunday morning. We hope that we have been